and I am from the PLM Ecosystem. We are a conscious consulting firm. What we do here is we try to elevate the consciousness level of an organization, and meditative experiences are a mechanism for us to do so. What we do with that elevated consciousness is we invest that energy into ESG space. So environment, social and governance concerns, that's what we try to incorporate as a part of the business strategy for any organization. Now, since ESG is a very holistic kind of a space, and we require a level of consciousness, we require a level of behavioral analytics and change into it as well. This is one of the reasons why we have opted for a meditative route. So you're changing not only yourself from inside out, but it's also a prolonged and an everlasting and a more holistic change in the organizational strategy. Wow, we can see a lot of people joining in. Thank you so much. Okay, I think we can get started. So what I'm going to do is we will do a quick recap of yesterday, what we discussed yesterday. For those of you who are new to the stream today, we will talk about a few basics of meditation. What are the basic things that we follow? One of them being your breath, being aware of your breath, being aware of the present moment, how to regulate that breath, and how that supports you in maintaining your emotional regulation as well. So we'll do a quick recap of that. And then we will start with today's topics. What we have in mind today is we will talk in detail about Om. Om is something that we have been learning about and knowing about, or probably listening about ever since we were little kids, for those of you who are joining from India. The second thing we'll be talking about is the practice and the art of emanating gratitude. The third thing that we'll venture into eventually is the quantum field. How meditative experiences help you get into a unified field, which we also call a quantum field, which opens up a lot of opportunities and possibilities for you to create your present moment and own your future. So these are some of the areas that we have listed for today. So I'm going to quickly do a recap. So you'll be able to see on my screen right now. I'm just popping it up. So if you can see here. So when we talk about these emotions, one of the really positive outcome of meditative experiences is your regulation of emotions. Emotions are basically energy in motion. And energy is frequency. And every frequency carries information. So whatever emotion you're feeling at this time is also the information that you're sending out in the universe. And that is the information that eventually creates your physical reality. So imagine if you're constantly feeling angry or you're constantly feeling guilt, you're influencing your physical reality. And those are the kind of opportunities and outcomes that you eventually receive in your real world. On the other hand, if you try to increase your vibration, and if you try to emanate love, gratitude, kindness, wholeness, your information changes, and the overall electromagnetic signature of your body also changes, which brings you more possibilities of the similar order, of the similar frequency. And that is how you create a more holistic and a more love-based future for yourself. If you can see in the next slide that I'm going to present here, every emotion has a scale and every emotion has a frequency as well. If you would see at the bottom, you would see that there are a lot of negative emotions, a lot of low vibration emotions that we have. For example, you have guilt, you have shame, you have hurt, you have pain inside you. These are the emotions which have comparatively lower vibrations. And what really happens is when these are the vibrations that you continue to emit, those are the informations that you're sending out. Similarly, if you go up, you will see that if you can also see, yes, the vibration is also not very coherent. It's changing, it's fluctuating, it's probably not the same. The wavelength keeps on changing as well. The more you move up, you will see there's a more coherence, there's a more stability, there's a more unified way, the way the frequency is behaving. The vibrations are more in order. When you have that order, you're able to connect to the unified field. This is one of the reasons why we want to practice mindfulness, so that you're able to vibrate higher. The higher you vibrate, the better emotions you feel and the better future you create. In case if you have any questions, because I know we're doing a very quick recap and we're not giving a lot of attention to things in detail at this point, feel free to ask your questions in the question box. And I'm happy to repeat whatever we discussed yesterday to the new audience. Now, if we move forward, we talked about having an electromagnetic field of your body. There are 7 energy centers in your body. And if we specifically talk about your brain, where we have the pineal gland, if you talk about your heart, where you have your heart chakra or your heart center. So basically what happens is that your brain has a lot of neurological connections. All the neurons combine and they start creating these neurological networks, and they're able to produce current from your body. This electricity that's flowing through your body, and outside your body, there's an electric field that is being developed. Similarly, your heart, this portion has myocytes. And because these myocytes are polarized in nature, the depolarization, that creates a magnetic field within your heart. And these magnetic fields and this energy that's created from the heart is 100 times more powerful than the energy that you create in the brain. And this is why when we talked in the previous slide about the elevated emotions, we want you to vibrate higher, because the better you feel, the more energy, the more positive energy you're throwing out. So your heart actually has way more energy than your brain has. So together, electricity and this magnetic field creates an electromagnetic field around your body, if you can see in the slide as well. This electromagnetic field that you're creating outside your body becomes your energy signature. And as we discussed, energy is nothing but frequency, and frequency has information. This is the information that you're emanating out of your body. And it might change based upon, the kind of emotions that you're feeling or the kind of situation you're in. So you might be experiencing probably harsh or sad situations, but your reaction to them doesn't have to be that. So this is one of the reasons why we try to regulate our emotions through breathing, because what really happens is when you're trying to breathe, when you close your eyes and you take deep breaths, it enables heart coherence. It enables flow of these elevated emotions, and it increases your vibrational frequency as well. So what we're going to do is, before we move further and we talk about the different centers within our body, let's do a quick breathing exercise for you to really feel and understand where we're coming from. And then after that, what we'll do is, there are some questions that are floating in, then we'll respond to those questions as well. So I'm hoping that all of you are sitting in a comfortable chair at this point. And I invite you all to close your eyes. And as I say inhale, you take a deep breath in. When I say hold, you hold that breath for a little longer period than usual. And when I say exhale, you let go. And during that time, what we'll try to do is we'll try to focus on the present moment. We'll try not to worry about what happened in the past. We'll try not to think about the future we're trying to create. And we will try to stay steady in the present moment, which is one of the most difficult things to do if you think about it, because we're constantly drawn between past and future. We barely focus our attention on present. So if at any point, in any breath, if you feel that your attention is diverting to probably something that you wish to happen in the future or you think happened in the past, we'll, with a lot of love and a lot of attention, try to come back to the present moment. So with your eyes closed, take a deep breath in and inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. At this point, your attention might be moving either in the past or probably in the future. Slowly, without any judgment, without forcing yourself, try to bring it back to the present moment. Focus on the breath. Focus how when your breath flows in, how it's touching your nostrils, how it enters the nasal cavity, and when you breathe out, what are the areas it's touching again. Put your entire focus on the nasal passage. Whenever you get distracted, come back to the breath. And you continue to inhale, hold, and exhale. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Stay with that breath for the next 60 seconds with your eyes closed. And whenever you're distracted, gently come back to the present moment, acknowledging that we got distracted, but not judging ourselves, not being hard on ourselves, just a simple acknowledgement that we got distracted. So we'll come back to our breath. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and we can continue with the session. And we would love to know if there's anybody who felt distracted and had to come back to the breath, because this is something very common. It could be encouraging to the rest of our audience as well. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick question here. Aparna here says that many times meditation is attached with particular religious practice or religions. How can the practice of meditation be made more broad-based? Aparna, this is something that we are also trying to identify, that where are those opportunities of secularism? Where are those opportunities through which we can unify, where we can figure out a way that nobody feels that this is where, they're being pushed or they're being converted from, one belief system to another belief system. This is one of the reasons why we try to focus a lot on our breath, and it's a more breath-based practice. It's more about inner regulation, and if you can see as well, we're also bringing a lot of science-based backing as well, for people to have more faith in the system. Thank you so much for that feedback. I really hope that you continue this practice and you're able to have a good night's sleep every day, because it does help you get more energy the next morning. If you know that every night during the dark, if you're having a good night's sleep, your body secretes melatonin. That melatonin is often associated with psychedelic experiences or spiritual awakenings experiences. But what that melatonin does is also helps you become more ready to absorb information, makes you ready to learn. And this is one of the reasons it's very important to meditate or at least practice breathing before you go to sleep, so you can relax at night, let your body create that melatonin for you. So next morning, you're more creative, more productive, more open, more whole. All right. So moving further, now we have spoken about the different electromagnetic fields that your body emits, different energy signatures that you release based upon the frequency of your body. If we move on to the next step, these are the 7 energy centers within the body, which we also call as chakras. And if you think about it, all these chakras, the way they have been placed in your body, are responsible for different enzyme secretion, different hormone secretion as well. These are the 7 centers where a lot of nerves meet together, create a mind of their own, and they operate independently as well, so that you can perform a lot of bodily functions. It's a part of your autonomous nervous system. And one of the reasons why we practice breath and we try to raise this level of awareness and we try to create more energy, positive energy in our body is that through our spinal cord, this energy flows from the bottom, the root of our body, to the head. So if you see, the spinal cord, these are 7 centers who are aligned within the spinal cord as well. So the energy from the base of our body moves to our pineal gland. And that is what helps you in experiencing A, elevated emotion, and 2, super consciousness. So moving ahead, we will talk about the 3 psychic knots. We will focus a lot more on every single energy center as well in one of our advanced workshops that we do. But keeping the limitation of time in mind, I'm just quickly taking this forward. But as I said, if you have any questions, just drop in the question box and we'll get back to that slide. So these are the 3 psychic knots that you can see here. The bottom one, the base one, is called the body. The center is the mind, and the pineal gland is the spirit. What really happens is the one in the below, the basic psychic knot, what is the body psychic knot, that helps you in your survival. So if you will see, all of these centers are also responsible survival, for example, reproduction or creating energy within your body. So these are the things that help you maintaining that survival mode. But the moment you lift up to the heart center, this is where you start experiencing elevated emotions. You will also notice that every single energy center also has a different frequency, pineal gland being the highest and root being the lowest. So as you keep going up from your survival emotions, like we saw in the first slide, the guilt, the shame, the pain, the trauma, the fear, as you keep on moving upward, this is where you start feeling appreciation. This is where you start feeling kindness, where you start feeling whole, you feel love, you feel unconditional love. And that becomes a bridge between your body and the spirit. And the more elevated you continue to feel, you move to your throat, you move to your pineal gland, you move to your brain. This is exactly how the energy flows. And the more energy, the more positive energy goes to your pineal gland, the better superconscious experience or the better unified experiences you have, the more frequency you're able to catch. Today, we'll talk in detail about these frequencies that we've been talking about when we discuss the quantum field as well. One exercise that you can all do, by the way, is that the way our body is designed, you can actually feel where all of these centers are. And if you measure like this is how you measure where every single center is. If you start from the bottom and if you place your hand here, you will see that your gut, your solar plexus is here. If you move ahead from solar plexus, this is where your heart chakra is. If you move ahead from your heart chakra, this is where your throat chakra is. And then you move here to the third eye, and from third eye, you have the pineal gland. So if you want to experiment it yourself, this is how you actually figure out where those energy centers are. And once you know the exact location, it helps you concentrate there better. You are able to feel that better. You're able to put more energy on those centers. So try doing this whenever you can, or even during the session if you want to. Today we move ahead. This is something that we're going to talk about today. We will talk about Om. And this is a syllable, or this is a term that is probably imbibed in a lot of our cultural practices as well, for those who are joining from India and those who are new to this term. Om is a symbol which is believed to emit, or Om is actually believed that it is the vibration of the universe. Om represents everything around us. Om contains all the frequencies. Om is the unified field. And again, Om is not something where, the reason why India adopted Om is not because of any religious sentiments, but purely from a spiritual standpoint, because we figured out very early on that this is the frequency of the universe. This is the vibrational frequency all around us. And this frequency, this is where everything comes together. Even the lower frequencies where you have guilt, you have shame, to the elevated frequency where you have kindness, to bliss, everything eventually merges into one. Om doesn't have duality. Om doesn't have polarity. Om has everything. Everything that our physical senses can perceive and everything that our consciousness can get access to. This is what Om broadly represents. If you want to know more about it, the further breakdown, if you can see here, even the symbol has different elements into it. If you see here, the bottom part, the unconscious state, this is where, when you're having a meditative experience, when you're closing your eyes, this is the kind of state that you experience. When you're neither dreaming nor waking, there's no dream, and you feel absolutely nothing. You feel, I am nobody, I have no identity, I am just a presence. I am a spirit, I am presence, I am one. That is what you feel in this state. You do not have any baggages, you do not own anything here, you don't know anybody here, nobody knows you here. There's absolutely zero ego. That is the unconscious state. If you look at the lower one, the upward curve, that is the waking state. When you're up, the 5% of your brain, the conscious brain, this represents the waking state, where you are somebody, you own something, you know somebody, you are somewhere. You are into three-dimensional Newtonian world during that time. You occupy space, you have mass, you have height, you have a dimension. If you move on to the other curve, that describes the dream state. When you close your eyes and your unconsciousness kicks in, the 95% of your subconscious brain kicks in. This is the dream state, where your consciousness goes to rest and your brain and your body, your mind starts to make sense out of everything together. That is your dream state. Now, if you see the upward curve, that is illusion. That is the physical reality that stops us from accessing the absolute state, which is presented in a dot above. This illusion is a physical reality. This illusion is a sense of ego. This illusion, which in Hindi we also call Maya. And eventually, when you go to the absolute state, that is the quantum field. That is a unified field. That is a 5-dimensional field that we are talking about. And this is where we eventually want to reach. And you only reach here by accessing or by becoming superconscious. And it takes a lot of practice and a lot of meditative experiences to eventually reach there. But this is what Om eventually symbolizes. And if you can see here, all the frequencies, all your states, all the illusions, everything merges into one. That is Om. We'll further talk about Om as well. Now, Om is made of 3 syllables. It's A, it's U, and it's Ma. So every time you're chanting Om, you will realize that you're actually following 3 syllables combined into one, which becomes one common term. So A represents the Brahma Granthi, or the body knot that we talked about in a previous slide. This is where the gut is, and at your gut, this is where you feel A. Every time you chant A, you'll feel the vibration happening in your gut. So A also represents creation. The creation, why we're choosing the gut and why it happens in the gut, because this is exactly where the energy, the food is transformed into energy. This is where creation happens. When you were born, the gut was the first thing that was created. This is where the umbilical cord connects the mother to the baby. That is where you get the nutrition from. So A, the creation, the Brahma knot, this represents A. Then we talk about U. U is this portion. This section, when you say U and you chant U, you will feel this portion. This is also called sustenance, or the Vishnu Granthi. So sustenance is responsible for having your bodily functions in place. So you will see that all your life-sustaining organs, your lungs, your heart, everything is here. So sustenance is important. So creation and sustenance, the Brahma and the Vishnu. And there's a third deity which we know in Hindu religion, or if you talk about Ma, you feel the vibrations here. This is a section where all the vibrations happen. This one, which we also call as the Rudra Granthi or the spirit. So creation, sustenance, and transformation. A lot of people associated M with destroying as well, the destroyer as well, but that's not really the right term. It's actually transformer. So you transform everything here. This is where transformation happens. You might be having destructive thoughts here as well, but you also have the ability to transform any piece of information into something tangible, something useful. You can connect the dots. So transformation happens here. So every time you're chanting Om, depending upon which syllable you're focusing on and you're trying to access, you'll be able to feel that vibration. And if you try to do Ah, Oo, and Ma vibration separately, you'll be able to see that Ah feels on your gut, Oo feels here, and Ma feels here. And that is why Om combines everything together, the body, the mind, and the spirit. So if anybody has any questions about this before we start focusing on chanting Om, I'd love to answer those. If there are no questions, maybe we can practice Om chanting together for a while, and we will notice the tangible frequency or vibrations when we keep focusing on different syllables as well. Okay, so there's a question if my sessions are available with recording for revisiting and practice. We are working on that. The sessions, what we can do is the recordings of this particular conference. So we have two sessions. One was yesterday, one was today. I'm trying to get access to that. And once we have the access, we will put all of this material on our social media handles, and they'll be accessible for all of you. So I'll be happy to share those URLs with you so you can access them. All right. If there are no other questions, let's try chanting Om together. And I really, really encourage you. I know you all are very busy and it's a working day, but if you can try to find a quiet spot where you can try this chanting and feel this vibration and energy within you, it's really going to help you in creating or changing the way your body behaves, either through mind, either through spirit, or either through body. So closing your eyes, focusing on the breath once again. Let's start chanting together. So if you tried focusing on these vibrations while chanting, you must have realized that in the first Om, we focused on A, in the second we focused on U more, and in the last one we focused on Ma more. And the energy and vibrations you feel inside your body, they're very tangible, they're palpable. You can feel them within your body, resonating within your body as one syllable. So I highly encourage, if you have trouble sleeping, if you have trouble in concentration, if you get restless very easily, if you're having any sort of anxiety, Om chanting is highly, highly, highly recommended. So we have a question, what is our social media handle? So what we'll do is, after this session, I will be posting all our social media handles on this chat window. So I request you to stay back for another 1 minute after the session so you can get access to that as well. All right. So we talked about Om. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the unified field that we have been speaking about since yesterday. And we said that, this is a unified field, and within a unified field, everything becomes one. It's a 5D world. So there's a lot of buzz around it when we talk about quantum. We do not really know what it means. We think that this is a term reserved purely for people from the scientific community or people who are academically more inclined. But quantum field is something which is so accessible, not just to these science communities, but to all of us, to every individual. Quantum field is absolutely accessible. So today, we'll start focusing and learning a little bit more about this quantum field. Once we know what that field is, what unified field is, we'll be able to focus our energy better so that we can get access to it through our consciousness. Although before we move there, we will talk about gratitude for a little bit. The reason why we're trying to talk about gratitude is because when you feel grateful, that is where your conscious starts elevating. That is when the matter eventually starts transforming into energy. And once you become that energy, once you start feeling that energy, it's only then when you're able to enter a unified field. So let's talk about being grateful. And it's a very easy practice. It's a very easy practice. I think it's just a mindset shift that we need, which helps us becoming more grateful in our daily lives. So there's a term that is often used by a lot of people that we know of, and a lot of people are in this illusion as well that we all are self-made. You must have heard this term from a lot of people who say that, what, I am self-made, or my dad was self-made, or my mom is self-made, or my wife is self-made. She's so independent, she can do anything she wants to. So we listen to this term a lot. But if you think about it, can you ever in your life be self-made? It's practically not possible for any of us to be self-made. Let's talk about the basics. How you're really born. If your parents did not create you, if your mother did not give birth to you, you would not have been here. So the first level of gratitude goes to our parents for even creating us to have that level of conscious that we're talking about being self-made, because we're not. So that is the first level of gratitude. Now let's talk about while growing up. There were teachers who trained you. There were mentors who coached you. You had parents looking after you. There were some people who were putting food on your table, people who were putting education ahead for you, people who were giving roof over your head. So when you were growing up, you had all of these possibilities and you had all of these opportunities around you, and they were being given to you. And I'm not saying you don't deserve them, because if your parents decided to have you as a parent, you deserve all of these. You deserve teaching, you deserve coaching, you deserve food, you deserve health, you deserve all of that. But there are a lot of people out there who do not have access to any of these. But we were given all of it, not by ourselves, but they were given to us. So that is the second level of gratitude that we need to emanate to our teachers, to our mentors, to our families, to our ecosystem, our friends who taught us so much, to our community who built this ecosystem for us. Now let's talk about our professions. We grow up and we decide to either go for a job, we decide to go for a business, anything that you want to do. And we say that, what, I am self-made. I am a business owner, I'm self-made. But think of that one client who gave you the opportunity to prove yourself. Think of that employer who gave you the opportunity to become employed. Think of that coworker who trained you to become employable or to probably be ready for promotion. Think of all these people who have supported you in your professional growth. As an employer, if I think about myself, there have been clients who have had so much faith in me, who made me who I am today with their amazing references and testimonies, and now they refer to me to so many people. If they had never given me the opportunity, I would not have been here. I bless and thank my entire team who had the faith in me and they decided to go ahead with me. So I'm grateful to them as well, because without them, I would not have been able to deliver. So whoever you are and whatever you do, there's so many people. It takes a village to make you successful. It takes a village to even let you have a decent life. So why not be grateful to all of them? Now let's talk about going to extreme. Say that you decide that I don't want to have a family, I do not want to have a professional life, and I would probably just go in the woods and become a hermit. I'm just gonna renounce all my worldly pleasures and belongings, and I'm just gonna stay and I'll become a yogi or I'll become a hermit, and that's what I'm gonna do. Even then, you have a floor to sit on, you have air to breathe, you have water to drink, you have food to eat. Shouldn't we be grateful to the nature as well for sustaining us? So When you think about all of this, your illusion of being self made shatters away. You're not self made. You were made by so many people around you every single day. Secondly, it also helps you be more grateful. And not only to the positive experiences, to the negative experiences as well. I'm not saying that all of us have had very comfortable life, rainbows and butterflies. But even though we had some very tough experiences in life, maybe, we failed, maybe we were rejected, maybe we were not treated well. But all of those emotions and experiences combined eventually have put us together at this point. Today, in this session, there's 37 of us who have come together, and we're sitting here and we're discussing about it. Every single experience, people who even wronged you, if you think about it, right and wrong, people who even wronged you should be grateful to them as well, because they gave you an experience, and that experience made you who you are today. So this is one of the reasons why we want to be grateful to everybody. So the next 2 minutes, we'll do a silent meditation where we'll close our eyes and we will start blessing every single person in our lives, starting from people who you do not like at all because probably they wronged you. But that is a good starting point for us to elevate our consciousness. So we'll close our eyes and we'll start emanating gratitude, kindness, love, and we'll thank every individual that we can think of, including the nature as well. Everybody we can think of who have made us who we are, for good, bad, ugly, positive, negative, all experiences. So closing your eyes and focusing on your breath, let's start sending out some positive vibrations to them. And if you get distracted by an incident from the past, which stops you from giving away the gratitude, try to think about that person and try to think that that person is also limited by the same boundaries, the same limitation of our thought process that we have. We have probably wronged so many people without even us knowing. So acknowledge the limited knowledge that we have and forgive them and show gratitude. If you're not able, if you're not able to think of anybody, if you're not able to think of any experience, probably just show gratitude to yourself for surviving, gratitude to yourself for being able to hold you together, gratitude to yourself for going through tremendous experiences, difficult ones, positive ones, good ones, bad ones, and still choosing hope over everything else. Show some gratitude to yourself. And may this gratitude brings in healing, positivity, and a better future for all of us. Aparna has asked a very good question. How do we send positive vibrations? By being thankful to them in our thoughts? Yes, that's exactly what we do. We, A, thank them. And when we start thanking them, we start feeling positive about them. And that is when you send out a blessing. Send out a blessing in the universe that they may have positivity in their life. They may have light in their life. They may live a happy life. Whenever you're ready, we will move on to our next topic and we will talk about the quantum field. All right. So, if you can look at your screen right now, so this is where we get into science a little bit. So, if you get stuck, if you have any questions, you have the chat box, you have the questionnaire section, just shoot it away. And either on this session or offline, I would love to take that with you. Okay, so a little bit of science time. So, what we know of today is that everything around us, the entire matter, in its solid, liquid, gaseous, plasma, any kind of state that we can think of, is made of atom. Atom is the smallest particle or the smallest entity of the matter or the universe that we can think of or that we know of at this point. And again, all our assumptions and all of our knowledge keeps getting challenged with time. So we'll of course continue to evolve there. But as of today, atom is the tiniest and the smallest particle that we know of at this point. Now, within atom, we have electrons, we have nucleus, we have protons. So even an atom, which is the smallest particle of the matter, has further segregations inside it. There's a nucleus that holds the atom together, and there are electrons which are constantly moving around it. And this is one of the diagrams that has been explained to us when we were kids. So if you go back to your science textbook as a child, you'll be able to see this exact diagram of atom. What if I tell you that all these diagrams that we have been watching are actually misleading and they're not really close to the truth of how the universe behaves? What if I tell you that we're not really living in a universe, but we're part of a multiverse? A place where multiple possibilities, multiple realities, multiple frequencies exist. And it's only once we are out of this matter form, once we're out of this universe, once we become energy, we're able to experience that positivity, we're able to experience that unified field that has all the possibilities. And we can choose the possibility we want to create for ourselves. We can bring that possibility back to the matter form into a universe and create a future for ourselves. And it sounds too good to be true, right? But what if I tell you that it is actually possible? It's very much possible for us to create a reality. We have grown up believing that the future is not in our hands. That's partially true because A, in the unified field, there's no future, there's only eternal present moment. And B, if you bring that moment back, if you bring that possibility back within this 3D space that we live in, where the time is linear, we can create a future just the way we want to. So we'll move on to the next slide where that will make it easier for you to understand. So in the previous slide, we have seen atom as a particle, that we have a small atom which has nucleus and it has electrons around it. But the truth is, atom actually acts as an energy. So there's a nucleus that's holding the atom together, but the electron could be anywhere and is revolving at such a fast pace all the time that you cannot really place where that electron is going to be at a particular moment. It's constantly moving. So rather than having an atom at a single point, we have possibilities of atom. It could be anywhere. We don't know. It's only when we observe it and when we put our consciousness on it, we're able to see that electron. The electron is only visible when you're consciously aware of it, when you're consciously putting your energy on it. That is where the electron appears. Otherwise, this electron is constantly moving and it could be anywhere. This electron is actually a possibility. It could be anywhere you want to. And that is when we say that whatever we focus our energy on, whatever we focus on intention on, that becomes a reality. Because when you focus at a very microscopic particle, you can influence that with your energy. So when you focus on it, the electron appears. Similarly, when you put an intention on it, that future appears for you. So now, enough science. We'll talk about this one now. So the world that we live in is bound by the laws of Newton, right? Because we live in a physical dimension. We live in a place where there's a lot of matter around us. We can touch, we can feel, we can hold stuff. And this is why we act as somebody. that I have a name, I own this thing, I have a car, I have a house, this is my name, this is my thought process, this is my belief system, this is what I know of, this is my knowledge, this is where I live, this is where I am, this is where I am right now, and this is the time that I am existing in. Right? We say that you were born in this particular year, and from this year to this year, you existed during this time. That is our limited knowledge that we have. That is the 3D world that we live in. Now, if we talk about the unified field, what we really do is that the reality of 3D moves to 5D. So time becomes a dimension. In 5D, time acts as a dimension that lets you access every possibility that you want to. I'm not sure if you've seen the movie Interstellar or not, because that movie is going to start making sense now. So, spoiler alert, the person can actually visualize physical reality by using time as a dimension. Okay. So, what really happens is if you want to enter a unified field, you have to keep all of these physical matter related identities away to be able to get converted from matter to energy. And when you become energy, you enter the unified field. How do you become energy? By becoming nobody from somebody, by becoming no one from someone, by being nowhere from somewhere, by being in no time. Nothing, nobody, no time, nowhere, nobody. And that is only possible if you're aware and if you act like a conscious. That I am not this physical body, I'm actually consciousness. I am not matter, I am energy. And it's only energy that has the power to go from physical reality to a unified field. So when we close our eyes and we try to meditate and we think of a black space around us and we try to think of space, we try to think of all these nothingness that we talk about, what we're really trying to do is trying to move away from this body. We're trying to move all the information and remove all the information that we know of in that moment from our body. And that becomes your doorway to the unified field. And you become nobody. You become energy. You're pure energy. And energy doesn't have identity. Energy is energy, right? What if I tell you that it gets better? Now, once you're in the unified field, a unified field is nothing but frequency. Imagine your universe, all right? So we're living in a universe and we have all these galaxies, we have planets, we have all these ecosystems floating around us. Imagine that you take planets away. Imagine you take the stars away. Imagine you take everything away. What is really left? It's a blank, endless space that only has frequency. You cannot touch anything. It's all energy. It's black. You cannot see anything because to see, there has to be matter, there has to be light, but you have transcended the speed of light to enter consciousness. So there's very long black space. That's it. If you if you have read some of the Hindu contexts as well, it is also believed that Vishnu goes into a slumber, goes into a sleep, which is actually he lives in a sea of consciousness. That's where he sleeps. He sleeps in a sea of consciousness. And out of that, a universe was formed. So that describes the Big Bang. That out of that, out of singularity, polarity and duality was formed when the frequency of energy got slower and slower and slower. It got converted from energy to matter, and that is how the universe was formed. The matter that we know of, that we can touch, that we can feel, that is very tangible. But if you move away from that, if you increase the speed of your frequency, you again become energy and you become conscious and you're able to access that. Now, when you're in that unified field, there are infinite number of frequencies out there, the infinite number of possibilities out there. Everything comes together as one. The entire energy is one because there's one big blank space and there's nothing, there's no division. And that is the journey where from nobody you become everybody. From no one you become everyone. From nothing you become everything. You are everywhere, every time. I'll tell you that when we say time is a dimension in this space, in the unified field, what that means is there's no present, there's no past, there's no future, there's only present. There's constant present and a lot of possibilities. So if you go back to some of our series that we used to watch as children, it used to open up this very famous series that you start with a sentence that said, "Main samay hu," I am time. What that talked about was being in a state of consciousness, and you are a unified field. When you're in a unified field, you are time. You are every time. You are everywhere. You are everyone. That is the power of the unified field. And that is the kind of consciousness that eventually we hope to achieve. What if I tell you that it gets even better? As we discussed, that this unified field is actually a realm of infinite possibilities. So when you're everybody, you can choose to be anybody. When you're everywhere, you can choose to be anywhere. When you're every time, you can choose to be at any time you want to. And those are the possibilities, those are the frequencies which we intentionally, through our awareness, catch in that unified field, and we bring it back to the material world. If I think of becoming extremely rich in that possibility, there's a frequency for that in the unified field. I can bring it back. If I think of a possibility that I want to heal myself, I want to be healthy, I want to have abundance, I want to find love in my life, I want to be surrounded by a support system, I want to be the strongest out there, there's a possibility of everything, because the unified field is a multiverse. In that multiverse, there are a lot of possibilities, a lot of frequencies existing, which you can choose, handpick, and bring them back with you. That is the power of meditation. That is the power of elevated collective consciousness. This is something that we want to achieve eventually, and we're all on our journey for that. And I'm sure that, the evolutionary journey that we have seen so far will definitely be there. Um, but that is something all for today. And I know there has been too much information that has been sent out your way. So what I'm going to do is, we have, I guess, 8 minutes left. So I'm going to open this up for any questions and answers that you may have. I would love to respond to your questions. And I am also going to share our social media handle with you, so that in case you want to reach out to us, you can do so. If this helps, this is our Instagram handle. In case anybody wants to follow us or get access to any kind of information, this is where you find it. I will quickly go back to the chat and see if anybody has any questions that I probably missed. All right. If there are no more questions, there's one a quick thing that I can just tell you about that might help you in your meditation. Okay, we do have a question. How to attain discipline to do this practice every day? Honestly, it just comes from within. You need to have that intention to really change something in your life. This is again the same quote I'm repeating from our yesterday's session, that Einstein said that uh, crazy people are the ones who continue to do the same thing every day and expect a different outcome. So if you really want, if you intend to have a different outcome in your life, if you intend to move further, have a mystical experience maybe, or have more abundance, more love, more success, whatever it is that you eventually wish to achieve, this is enough for you to give you, the rigor or the push that you need to create that reality. I would suggest that waking up early in the morning, 6 a.m. usually works. Ideal time for meditating, by the way, is 4:30 a.m. This is what in Hindu time zone we say it's Amrit Vela, because that is when you have the maximum melatonin secreted within your brain. Maximum melatonin at that point, which happens during night, during your REM cycle. That is what pineal gland does, which is responsible for meditative experiences as well. And psychedelic experiences opens up, as I said, to reception of information. So ideal time 4:30, but I know it's a little hard to maintain. So I would suggest you can probably start waking up early morning. Try doing that. And if you're able to give yourself at least 30 minutes a day to your brain, to the future you want to create, you will be able to do that. And honestly, without focusing on how it's going to happen, just focus on what you really want. and the universe is going to figure out a how, because the matter is going to arrange itself in a way that it works out for you if you have the right intention, if you have that emotion for it. How to activate active energy to teammates. We have corporate workshops. If you want to bring this to your team, feel free to reach out to us either through Instagram or just reach out to me, DM me on this platform itself, and I'll reach out to you and let you know how that works. Aparna, as we discussed, how do we make this practice more broad-based and not religion-based? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do a lot of breath awareness workshops. We're trying to do more frequency awareness workshops where we purely talk about a quantum field, talk about frequency, and how every single chakra has a frequency, energy center has a frequency, every single emotion has a frequency for that matter. How do you regulate that using your breath? So we're trying to focus on that as well. I think that will probably make it more broad-based, but happy to know your thoughts. If you have any suggestions, ideas, I think that's going to really help us develop a more holistic curriculum. And while you're in, since you have asked, this is something that we offer to a lot of corporates. In case you want to have a look at this, I'm going to quickly share my screen and show you this one. So these are, so we have a 21-day program, and every 3 days we focus on one energy center, from root chakra, from Muladhara to Sahasrara, which is also called as the 1,000-petal lotus, which has the highest frequency, the crown chakra. So we focus on all of these frequencies, like you can see here, from 396 to 963, 3 days each. And we have very distinct workshops for every single energy center as well that we give to you for 3 days. And there are benefits that, you get rid of trauma, fear, guilt, and from that you go to a point where you are able to connect with the universe for its perfection. So this is something that, might help you in making sure that your team also has the same energy that you want it to. What is the best time to go to bed and get up in the morning? I would say that backtrack for at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep. If you want to get up at 6 to 8 hours of sleep is important. So it's nice if you are in your bed between 10 to 11. I think that's going to work. And try to do breathing practice before you sleep as well, because what happens that it helps you clear your mind. And when you go with a clear mind, it helps you reach that unconscious state quicker, and eventually definitely helps you in your melatonin secretion. So that's going to help. Any other questions anybody has? Okay, I do see a Q&A section as well. Okay, that has been asked in the chat box. All right, I think this is all we had to offer. Thank you so much, Aparna, for your candid thoughts and being a part of this session as well. You've been very active in the chat section, and I'm pretty sure that most of your questions were very relevant and most of the people have that in mind. So thank you so much for giving words to them as well. We have answered all the questions, and the session, we have gone through the entire scope of the session as well. Thank you so much.